Hi guys, just a quick update. The guy who recorded the video that I'm responding to today actually replied to the comment that I left 2 hours after I recorded this video, stating that he'd done a bit more research. Therefore, the opinions stated in this video may or may not be relevant. My motivations therefore for uploading this video is 1, I already recorded it. I will never get that time back again. And number 2, for others who may have the same concerns that he did, it may re-clarify for them.
Like, for example, cringy, going to call out some channels. Cringy.
Oh hey, that's me. I'll be honest with you guys, when somebody left a comment down below in one of my videos saying this guy is sending hate towards you, I was like rubbing my hands together. I was ready for a fight, and then I went and watched the video and I was like, oh, he just got some things wrong, which, you know, that's cool. I do too. Disocial DID, am I right, guys? Please laugh with me and not at me, I'm very fragile. And so I left my comment and I was on my way. I'd clarified, I was happy, but then I decided I'm going to go back and watch the video again. And some things he said were just wrong. Not necessarily about me, they were just wrong in general, which has led me to this point of making this video.
So their name is Dissociated. And if you've clicked on this video, you probably know who they are. You probably know that they're an educational channel who creates content to kind of educate on dissociative identity disorder, to end stigma surrounding dissociative identity disorder.
That's debatable. Nin, the host of the Dissociated System, uses really old studies, which means that the studies no longer have historical validity, meaning all of their information is outdated and isn't educational in any way, shape, or form. You cannot claim to be an educational channel and use a study that is 120 years old. No actual professional or educator on a subject would use outdated content unless they are historians, because that's kind of their gig. And if the response is, Nin has never called herself a professional, well, we'll get into that in part 2, but she has in fact referred to herself as a professional, that she acts in a professional sense, and that she is an educational service. And I believe in the United Kingdom you need a license to refer to yourself as an educational service because it's a protected term. Don't quote me on that, but I believe I did research some of that for my criminology module. Which, side note, is why it makes me kind of laugh when people say, you mispronounced her name, you didn't do your research. Yeah, I'll just take my degree and burn it then, it must be useless now.
She started drama with this dissociative identity disorder Dissociated channel, saying that she was crazy and stuff like that. Dissociated responded. One of her last videos was the response video. At the same time, a website called Kiwi Farms, and if you don't know what that is, essentially, I kind of see it as like an anti-hero website where they're trying to expose people on the internet who they think are bad for whatever reason. It's very much like kind of like a internet justice. We're gonna prove this person's bad and not really do it in a way which is even that great.
I think you're misunderstanding the purpose of Kiwi Farms. Kiwi Farms isn't necessarily there, and the people aren't necessarily there purely to expose people or to be heroes. I think most of the people are only there to watch train wrecks, and that is actually a natural human response. Everybody enjoys a good train wreck, and anyone who says they don't is lying because it's Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. Who knows? I can't pronounce anything. However, I don't think that the people at Kiwi Farms genuinely believe that they are some kind of heroes. They're there for a laugh, and upon their investigations may discover some unfavourable information or some pretty damning information on a person and have no problem sharing it. The average Kiwi Farms member who does this is a go hard or go home person. And while I don't agree with their methods of doxing or leaking private information that was not public, I do appreciate some of the levels of commitment they show to compiling information. And most of the time, this will only be used for a laugh, because they aren't themselves making videos. the people who are making videos will go to Kiwi Farms like I did, and how I freely said that I went to Kiwi Farms for some of my information. If they truly wanted to be the heroes that we all didn't deserve but we needed, they would be making videos on the same platform as, for example, Nin.
Like they're just basically saying outright, we're gonna go and do this because we think we're right. You're wrong. You don't really have this disorder. You're faking it for money. So we need to save your patrons and let them know how bad you really are.
Again, I don't think this is the case because they're not going out and contacting their patrons. They're there for the shees and giggles. I wish I could swear.
What's difficult about this is basically that the whole disorder is a hidden disorder. The point is, one of the theories is basically called, I think it's structural dissociation or something.
Yes, the theory of structural dissociation. There's also other theories that I haven't seen been brought up. For example, evolutionary theory, because it would be beneficial for someone's survival to forget the traumatic experiences that they've been through. But the theory of structural dissociation, is the one that's most commonly talked about. Although I suppose one could argue that the theory of structural dissociation is directly linked to the evolutionary one because it's all to do with survival, so it's neither here nor there. He's then going to go on and discuss about how dissociative identity disorder is a hidden disorder and how it's related to PTSD, and I've got to butt in. I have to, I'm sorry.
If you've ever had like a form of PTSD, if you've had that, you probably know what I'm talking about, where it's like you essentially relive it over and over again. Like in your head, you just have the same thing happening over and over again.
While I understand he's trying to relate it to the theory of structural dissociation, I don't like this oversimplification of PTSD because that's a singular symptom of PTSD, reliving experiences, whereas PTSD, every single person with DID has PTSD, and it's a lot more complex than just that. I understand what he's doing, I don't like it. If you didn't know, I am diagnosed with PTSD, and it's a lot more than just reliving events. So I really think this video should have been a bit more researched, especially when talking about specifics. I can also tell that he didn't script this video. I don't believe he did because there's a lot of adjuncts in his phrasing, for example, saying basically, and a lot of filler words. So I think if you're going to talk about the specifics of a mental illness, you should have scripted this part. And if I'm wrong and you did in fact script it, it should have been a bit more concise. For the next part, he talks about how some people are pointing out certain things about Nin that leads them to believe they don't have DID, but I've never argued that point, so I'm not going to cover it. He then talks about the patron thing, which again will be in part 2 of the Nin video, so I'm not going to address that right now. And let's get on to the juicy.
Like for example, Cringy, going to call out some channels. Cringy, small kind of drama commentary channel. And I actually spoke to her in one of her live streams, and she just straight up said that she thinks dissociated does have the disorder, the trauma-based memory changing, messed up disorder, but she thinks that she's manipulative and she's trying to do things for money. And it's like, yeah, she probably is, but like your whole channel exists to do that too. Like you're a drama content bit like commentary channel. Like the whole channel is there to kind of manipulate the view on something that's happened. Like, oh, this person has done this thing. I think it's terrible. How dare they do that? That is a formal kind of social manipulation in itself. You're actively using someone else to create. And my issue is really that this YouTuber at the crux of it is not bad. They're not doing anything that I think is really, really bad,
This has got to be one of the worst arguments I've ever heard in my entire life. Commentary YouTube channels are manipulation. Lord help. Nin is manipulative when she presents Dr. Remy Aquaron as a credible diagnostic source, which is perpetuating a falsehood. Placing the notion that my entire channel is based on manipulation places the entire commentary genre as being manipulation, meaning anybody who ever uploads a video stating their opinion are manipulative. Are you so manipulative by stating your own opinions in this video? Are you a manipulator for doing that? Manipulating people involves spreading certain falsehoods and getting them to think a certain way based on those. That's slander, which needs to have manipulation involved. However, I provided screenshots and evidence for why I believe what I believe, and I invite my audience to do their own research. What kind of manipulator am I to tell people to go and find out their own research and come to their own conclusions? I'm actually just at a loss. Stating opinions, people, is manipulation. No, it's not. Commentary is not manipulation. I'm not showing anything that is false or doctored. I'm not showing anything that has nothing to do with the situation I'm talking about. Calling my channel manipulative shows that you have a deep misunderstanding of what my channel is and why I upload. Not once did I ever tell anyone to unsubscribe from Nin or send Nin hate. In fact, I asked them to do the opposite of that. What exactly am I manipulating my audience to do?
They, like, another thing cringy this YouTuber said was they have a video a long time ago where they push a charity. I think it was BetterHelp, which is really, like, the charity is super problematic. And cringy was like, oh, you posted a video right at the beginning of your channel where you liked this charity and you were pushing for it, and you've never taken that back. Like, you've never removed the link to this charity. You've never done these things. And it's like, it's just difficult because the internet means that we have this record of everything someone's ever done. And if you focus on these tiny insignificant details where it's like, this is not a new video, this is not a video she's pushing now, this was a really old video, and it's like you're focusing on this link in the comment of the video or whatever, the description of the video, and you're focusing on the fact that they pushed it maybe once in the video. You're not really seeing the big picture of this channel as a whole.
Monsieur, you have missed the entire big picture. I was giving an example of when she had the BetterHelp link. I was not showing the only example. Their podcast with Team Pinata, Sanity, was sponsored by BetterHelp.
We aren't as professional as we sound.
Brought to you by BetterHelp.
Thank you for sponsoring us, BetterHelp.
Them mentioning it and having it linked as recent as 8 months ago, February this year. So it was not one instance from years ago, and the truth about BetterHelp came out well before February of this year. The first videos coming out exposing BetterHelp were actually in 2017, and it was widespread internet news by October 2018 with the Baited podcast covering it. It's also not a charity. Not in any way, shape or form has BetterHelp ever been a charity. It's a company that provides quote-unquote online therapy, and in my The Problem with Dissociated video, I gave in a nutshell the problems with BetterHelp. Some research was required here.
There's a video of Bobo and Co. basically saying Dissociated is a terrible friend because when she went to the sleepover, Dissociated got triggered, meaning one of her, in this case it was a trauma holding alter, came forward, like kind of broke down, went crazy because, you know, PTSD, reliving the memories. Like I said, that put the bad memories into a segment in the brain. If that brain part like becomes the thing that's hosting, then like they have to relive the memories. They're gonna keep, unless they've recovered, they're going to be going to cycles of like living the memory over and over. So they're losing their shit. And Bobo is trying to calm them down. And you know, eventually she kind of switches back and she's fine. But Bobo tells the story and she's like, it was the most traumatic thing. I can't believe, like, she never even asked how I was. Like, oh, it was so traumatic for me. As in the girl that was helping the girl through the PTSD. And it's like, the reason I have a huge issue with this is because I've had PTSD. I know what these like when you go through this moment of like it's just like a panic attack where you're reliving memories. And it's like I totally understand it's not a very nice thing for someone else to have to deal with, but the whole thing is like this girl went into like a full-on panic attack and we're meant to feel sorry for the girl that helped her out of it. I don't understand this. Like she tells the story, and in my head, that's like you are a shit friend. Like I don't give a fuck. Like if you think that it was traumatic having to see that, like I don't understand. There's definitely like a missing part there where it's like surely the fact that she was in this fucked up state like lets her off the fact that she's meant to have dissociative identity disorder. It's not even like the part that's normally there would even necessarily know what happened. Like, there's just so many segments of this where I'm like, it doesn't really add up.
I agree, something isn't adding up because Nin herself advocates for system responsibility, meaning that if one alter does something, the entire system is responsible for it. And your claim that she might not have remembered when she clearly made a video stating that she remembered that she was triggered at the party kind of disproves that. Nin's own morality dictates that she take responsibility for anything any other alters say or do. Therefore, she should have apologized to Bobo. And I don't understand why you're disregarding Bobo's DID. Well, if you think it was bad to see, what's it like to experience? They both have DID. If Bobo's supposed to have empathy for what Nin, or at that point Omega, was going through, Nin should have empathy for what it was like to witness. It sounds like you're more concerned about what Nin was going through than what Bobo was subjected to, which can be equally as traumatizing for somebody who has a PTSD-derived illness, don't you think? The facts of this were a switch happened and Bobo was subjected to it. Okay? Nin remembered that event. She recalled it. And Nin advocates system responsibility. Therefore, it's her responsibility to acknowledge it and apologize for putting Bobo through that. Is it Nin's fault that Omega was triggered? No. However, system responsibility. It's like saying to someone who was in a car crash but survived, hey, at least you weren't the guy in the other car who died. It was an accident on both ends, but that guy died and you survived, so I don't know why you're so upset about this.
Like, the only way, like, in my head, it makes no sense. If it was that traumatic, like, it shouldn't be. Like, you should, as a person with dissociative identity disorder, be very open and kind of understanding about what happened to them.
I'm at a loss. I really am. You, who has dissociative identity disorder, should not be triggered by certain things. Do you not know how it works? Do you not know how triggers work? You're saying to someone, you should not have been affected by this. Do you know how harmful that is towards mental health? Do you know how harmful that is towards people with DID, the disorder which you're suddenly white knighting for? I cannot articulate how much research you should have done, both on dissociated and dissocial identity disorder, before even considering making this video. By God. The disconnect is beyond me. It's okay for Nin to be triggered and lash out at people, but it's not okay for Bobo to be affected by that. If Bobo is missing empathy, then Nin, who recalls the event and never decided to use her own morality of system responsibility, I don't know what that makes her. As for Bobo going on the internet, well, it's not like Nin was replying to her texts anyway. Like I said, I appreciate the guy for being nice to me. He wasn't rude, he didn't call me any names, he was quite civil. But the lack of research is mind-boggling. I really think that you, who made this video, you really need to research Nin, Dissociated, the other YouTubers, and dissocial identity disorder. because it's quite evident you haven't looked into it that much, or you're omitting certain information. I obviously didn't put the entire video here because it was 20 minutes long and this video is only 20 minutes long, and I only wanted to put the relevant information in that I wanted to respond to. I'll put the link in the description, and mate, if you find this video and you think it's sending you any negativity, even though I don't promote that, I will remove the link. You just need to ask me. So I hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.